from Joseph to fly over the other side of the world. He looks in tremendous shape. Andy now had a longer period to gel with his trainer. You know him personally as well, in a good space for this challenge.
Yeah, I think it's a zen in the camp. You know, I've seen all the camps and you know, they've prepared extremely well and had more time together, and there's just a steady calm that they know what the job is, so we're on the home straight. Now, and as for the commitment, Joseph and I actually don't know when we're allowed back home to New Zealand, so yeah, definitely quite a commitment.
Well, I'm sure New Zealand will be very concerned about not having your return.
If I have to move in,
you're more than welcome.
Mow your lawn.
More than welcome. More than welcome. We've got a few moments for you. The training teams, two tremendous trainers. I think one of the dynamics of this fight, which is so intriguing, is the two quality trainers that stand in hand of these two men, Dave Caldwell and Andy Lee. Dave, firstly for you, Derek seems to be more committed the longer his career goes on. Is that something you've seen in this camp? Tony Bellew always talks about staying up in Rotherham and how difficult that can be, but Derek's done it, looks in tremendous shape and ready to go on Saturday night.
I think as a fighter gets more experience on the belt, they get wiser, don't they? And they realise that certain mistakes they might have made earlier on in their career, they can't afford to make as they go on. They just learn, they just get smarter. And I mean, Derek, when he linked up with David and the Haymaker setup, changed his way he lived, nutrition-wise, looking after his body, not abusing his body, and just keeping it even in between fights, keeping it in maintenance and keeping it running really well. And I think that takes even though you can say, well, we're getting older, what happens there is that takes a length of time for it to really embed in. And with consistency, you get better results in how you perform. And right now, he's performing really, really well. I'm happy with the work that he's done in the gym. I'm happy with his commitment. And as far as everything's concerned with myself, his sparring session has been great. He's in a really good place, and you'll see on Saturday.
What do you expect from Team Parker this fight? Obviously, more time with Andy Lee.
Yeah.
I personally don't think this fight goes 12 rounds this time. I think they'll be, keener to get this one resolved without going to the judges' scorecards. I think the atmosphere in the arena, all those things that were perhaps lacking in that first fight, is that what you expect? A fast pace in this fight, and maybe not just to hear the final bell?
I don't expect it to go the distance. In answer to your question about Joseph, I think the link up with Andy Lee, I've said numerous times, Andy Lee's a very, very smart man when it comes to boxing. He's worked with two of the best in the business in Manny Stewart and Adam Booth. Sprinkle a bit of Andy Lee's own knowledge himself and the way that he coaches himself, you're going to get results. And as he goes on and develops as a coach, you're going to get fantastic results as he goes on. So I'm expecting a better Joseph Parker. I'm expecting a more aggressive, positive Joseph Parker than we had in the first fight. He's got levers. He's got good balance. He's going to use it in an aggressive sort of manner. I don't think he's just going to look to go to the ropes and let Derek bully him. It's going to be a better Parker. But in the same vein as I'm expecting and I'm seeing a better Derek Chisora. And Andy will say that he'll be expecting a better Chisora as well. But the thing when you go into rematches is when you've got intelligent fighters involved, they learn from the first fight. And Derek knows the shots that Joseph landed in the first fight. I've said to him, you can't afford those shots to land in the second because I expect him to be delivered with better technique. With better technique, they will hit harder, and I'm expecting that. But there's mistakes that Derek made in the first fight, offensively, that he won't make in this one. And you will see. I think you will see a better fight because both fighters will be better. And like you mentioned about the crowd as well, they've underestimated what a difference that makes to fighters like these guys with the crowd. Joseph's a massive name in New Zealand. He's always boxing in front of big crowds, big vociferous crowds, people behind him. Derek loves the crowds singing his name, getting behind him. There's certain fighters where it doesn't affect your cool, calculated boxing skillsters that'll think their way through all the way through. Everything's precise. Crowds don't really affect those sort of fighters. fighters like Derek, like Joseph, like Conor Benz, people like that, they get that vibe, and it adds an extra few percentage. And when you're talking about performance levels in these kind of fights, those little percentages add up.
And do you share the common theme of this fight not going the distance that time around? I know you take victory by any means, but expect it to be a lively encounter on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with everything that they've said, and I know how much Chisora will have improved with Dave, because when I won a world title, in my corner, assistant at a booth was Dave Caldwell, so I know all about him, and John Hill, by the way. So I know how he will have improved Chisora. And listen, to be honest, after the first fight, when the bell rang, I thought they were going to give the decision to Chisora, and I said it to him in the ring. I was completely honest. I said, I think you probably won this. We got the decision, and when I watched it back, I thought Joe won the fight. And I would also agree with Dave that we won't be negative. Joe's going to be a lot more positive. He'll stand a lot more, and fight a lot more, and be a lot more consistent with his attacks. And yeah, it should make for an excellent fight.
If he's going to do that, and we know what Derek Chisora is going to do, we expect a really great fight between these two on Saturday night in front of a big crowd again, which will make a big difference. It was difficult, wasn't it, behind closed doors? I mean, as a trainer, perhaps to
Yes.
get your fighter in the moment.
And you can hear all the voices, and if anything, the crowd being there will be a benefit to Chisora more than Joseph, because he will feed off that and the energy, and he's a big favourite. And it's like the old saying, you die a hero, you live long enough to become a villain. With Chisora, it's almost a reverse, where he's now the hero. People love him, and they love his fight style. And he's given us great fights over the years, and great entertainment. But we're here to do business. It's all of this lamenting each other and praising each other. When Joseph gets in that ring, he'll be a different Joseph Parker in terms of the spike he has, mentally and physically. And I'll just finish off by saying cheer to the Makapunas at home, and we'll see you all Saturday night.
Thank you, Andy. Del Boy, kind of get the feeling you're not a lover of these press conferences. Eddie Hearn pay me to talk. How much is that? Oh, you can't talk. That's a shame. You're going to put it in your phone. Are you not going to talk?
Anyone got a couple of...
All right, I'll go to Joseph. Joseph!
No.
Don't have to pay you to talk, do I? No, good, okay. Ready to go on Saturday night. We're looking in tremendous shape, great camp.
Ready to
We're
go.
expecting a tough Derek Chisora on Saturday.
Yeah. First, it's great to be back in Manchester with the team. Ben, Stephen, Osman and Sonny Bill Williams at the back. Good to have you guys here. We've had a tremendous camp, a great camp. And this fight will be different to the first for sure, 100%.
Andy talks about the crowd. I mean, I know you love fighting in front of crowds as well. You did it in front of 70,000 at the Millennium Stadium. You did it in front of 20,000 at the O2 as well. Weird last time? I mean, fighters get asked this question a lot. Some say, no, it made no difference, but I don't believe that to be true.
It made a big difference. I think the crowd, I know Derek, he does feed off the crowd. I feed off the crowd too. A lot of fighters feed off the crowd. And just having no crowd, having no noise, hearing specific voices, it's pretty weird.
And finally, for you, I know that you're talking about a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship again. That is the aim for you, to become a two-time world champion. Do you need to put in an impressive performance? Scraping a victory on Saturday is not enough. You need to make a statement with this win.
Listen, the world titles are, my eyes are just purely on this weekend. Derek Chisora, and I want to, probably knock him out between rounds 6 and 10.
6 and 10. Okay. Sam, he said he's going to knock you out between 6 and 10. We're not going to get any worse from Derek Chisora, but we're going to get a great fight on Saturday night, and we're going to get a great show. Finishing the year in style, live on DAZN around the world. Derek Chisora against Joseph Parker, the rematch at Manchester Arena. 3 other great championship fights as well. Of course, Jack Cullen against Sacho for the European title. IBF Eliminator Zelfa Barrett against Bruno Torino. IBO Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Lerone Richards against Carlos Gongora. Sprinking some Alan Babbage. The brilliance of the young cruiserweights David Naika, Jordan Thompson, GB star Cyrus Patterson and Sandy Ryan, and Rhiannon Dixon in action as well. Do not miss it this Saturday, live on DAZN. We will see you there.